Hello, come in. Here we are, roast gallery on the wall, my office. We don't normally have many guitars on show. Today I've put a few things together that's in for adjustment, that's in part exchange for sale, that's due to go out. It's a variety from mandolins, arch tops, flat tops, bouzouki, citerns, and luckily today we have quite a variety. We don't normally have that. We'll wander past a few items of metal, a device for making linings, which you can show you on a different video, bending formers, half-built sanding machine, which will probably never get finished now, and upstairs to a wood store. I'm going to pause here and look down there. Alex doing some fret filing. Clavo walnut, clavo walnut, clavo walnut, Indian rosewood, various mahoganies, Cuban mahogany, bog oak, reclaimed mahogany, snakewood, more Indian rosewood, French walnut. What have we got here? Zebrano, leopard wood, bubinga, Indian laurel, cypress, cocobolo, Cuban mahogany, maple, bird's eye maple, figured maple, quilted maple, silicote, Malaysian blackwood, African blackwood, more African blackwood, wenge, African ebony, Macassar ebony, Brazilian rosewood all along there. Down at the bottom we have satin wood, pink ivory, some Amazon rosewood, olive wood. Over here we have more Brazilian rosewood, part made necks, well finished necks really, part made necks, European spruce, Colombian pine, yellow cedar, dark cedar, more Brazilian rosewood, Madagascar rosewood, redwood and Cinca redwood, Italian spruce, Swiss pine, Engelmann spruce I think I mentioned, more Italian spruce, Sitka spruce, around here, ebony fingerboards over here, lots of them, ebony bridges, European spruce at the far end, cedar. A lot of this timber I cut myself from 1970s and I've still got it. I'm still using it. More cedar. I'm always buying more timber. You can't have too much timber, and it's an important part of my job. I insist on having it at least 2 years before I use it, no matter where it's come from, no matter how well it's been dried, and I want to dry it myself and condition it before I use it. And we have no problems with shrinkage and cracking, etc. That's because we're very careful with the condition of the timber. This is a few stacks of sapele, and also the wood from the whiskey trade. This is the washback vessel, and these are the casks. I haven't got very much left now. I'll show you a bit more downstairs. Some odds and ends of Brazilian rosewood logs, English walnut, a lot more English walnut, Indian rosewood fingerboards, a lot more Indian rosewood backs and sides, bits and pieces of machinery, bits of metal for making jigs and tools out of, collected over 50 years or more. I've been through all that, haven't I? Yeah, downstairs, part made necks, I've been through all that. This is the kiln, chuntering away 24 hours a day. We've got ebony in there at the moment. Ebony never really dries. You've got to try really hard to dry before you use it. That 2 years rule is nowhere near enough for ebony. And if you don't dry your own wood as a guitar maker, you're going to have problems. This is where I work. I'm just fitting a neck and bridge, 2 brass pins holding it in place, just getting ready for gluing that on. Alex is just finishing off the frets on this aerial guitar. Here we have semi-finished instruments. That one was an Orsino made in about 1974. We could make a living now just repairing guitars that were made 50 years ago. You know, they come back with bits broken off them and all sorts. That's Richard Hawley's Gibson, It's having massive reconstruction done to it. Martin Simpson's banjo neck. There's 3 or 4 necks going onto the guitar bodies that are left up here. Some bodies there waiting to be polished and waiting to have necks made for them. We make the bodies first and then make the necks to match the exact contour of the body end. There's a special 12-string bouzouki going to Texas next week. Here we have more wood, Cuban mahogany, ebony, Indian rosewood, jigs and tools for drilling holes in all the right places every time. With a template like that, you make it once, you haven't got to do it again. The holes will be in the same place every time. All these things, I used to have a lot more, we don't, less now. Here's one of my latest toys, fretboard slotting machine. Just put the fingerboard on there, clamp it on, cut slots. Very simple. And I can do whatever scale length I want. I can change the saw blade to a different width for different sort of fret wire. I can do fan frets if I want to. I can do unusual scales or set scales. And it keeps me happy making bits of machinery from time to time. This is a guitar I've been waiting to go to New York, but it can't go because of the COVID problem. I have to wait till it's all settled. This is timber from the washback vessel of Talisker. That's the sort of thing as it arrives, and that's too coarse, I won't use it, but it's very colourful. That's another piece. You know, it's really, really awful looking, but inside it, it's incredibly interesting. Really old timber, quite worthwhile. Round here, that's the plate rack with part-made fronts and backs. We've sometimes got spare components up there that we can use to build up a guitar. This area is mostly mahogany for necks. You can see there's plenty of planks which we could cut necks out of if the grain direction is right, but that's very critical for the necks that we make. We won't accept grain going in a different direction. We won't accept glued up necks with the heel glued on or the head glued on. It has to be a one-piece neck for a guitar, or laminated down the middle at least. And we can do that out of thinner pieces sometimes like that, but that's been reclaimed. Lots of snooker table legs, which sometimes are worthwhile and sometimes are not. More snooker table legs down there. These are presses. At the moment there's two backs in there having the braces glued on. We use these for an awful lot. We use it for putting the braces on the fronts and on the backs, and for gluing the fronts and backs onto the sides. And it's nice having, I've got 3 or 4 more, but it's nice having this many because we can put something in and leave it a day if we want to. We don't need to rush, we don't need to get it out after 10 minutes. Small log of Indian rosewood has been cut through and through. That's a log of Indian rosewood that's been cut quarter sawn, so each cut is heading towards the centre. That's a log of sycamore that's been first quarter sawn, the first cuts of a quarter sawn. And here you can see the end grain of all these mahogany planks. Some of these will make backs, and some will make necks, and some won't make either. Cutting sound holes some more. Do you want some of these? Coasters? Plenty of those. Little device for putting the slot in bracing. I'll just show you what that is. This is a soundboard partly made, and those braces in there have a cut halfway through to allow them to notch together. And that's done on this little device. There's a saw blade in there, and it cuts just the right size slot, and you can change the angle to fit the other brace. Paul here is just putting some linings in. Lining, you probably understand, is a piece of wood that's been cut nearly all the way through. It's called kerfing. That slot there is a kerf, so that's been kerfed, and you get a machine called a coffin kerfer for making coffins. What happens here, because it's cut nearly all the way through, you can bend it without it breaking. Sometimes it breaks. So Paul's gluing those in with lots and lots and lots of clips. And carry a bit further around. More wood, more mahogany. Again, I buy it when I can, different thicknesses. That's a really old find. It's been in a joiner's workshop for 50 years or more. I had to cut it in half even to get it in. It's just too big. More mahogany. I haven't found anywhere to put it yet. On top of the spray room there's English walnut. Tucked down the side of the spray room there's English walnut. Behind the sanding machines up here, claro walnut, can't have too much wood. Further round, more mahogany. And back round here, more snooker table legs. You may have noticed we are in the machine room. There's no machines being used. It's very unusual to have one of these going, but we have lots of small machines which we use for a few seconds at a time. Some of them are specially made for us, and they're industrial versions of the things that most guitar makers would have. We don't have a little handheld router, we have a big one. We don't have a little sanding machine, we have a big one. And then through here, bending formers for bending guitar sides on. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and another one being made, each for a different shape of guitar. We don't make many. We only make about 100 guitars a year, but this tooling was built, some of it in the 1970s, where we were making about 1,000 guitars a year. And now it's all concentrated on a much smaller number of instruments. So all that timber, all these years of experience and all this equipment, facilities, all concentrate on a small number, which is a great way of making guitars. We don't lack for anything really. More snooker table legs, offcuts of mahogany, big enough for making necks out of, more offcuts, stacks of walnut down there. Yeah, that's it. So I'll go back in the office now.